Travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
We're taking a bit of a short left in our travel segment today to visit the Oude Molen Eco Village, which is a large tract of land located on the banks of the Black River, just at the entrance to Pinelands. So if you're not familiar with the estate, if you picture where Vincent Pallotti Hospital is, it's just below there, between the hospital complex and the river. And why are we visiting Oude Molen? Well, because our listener Shirley visited Oude Molen last month with her gardening club, the delightfully named Fairy Folk Gardening Gals. They went to check out the community gardens, and we'll talk about those as part of this interview, but they discovered, as we are going to, that there is so much more happening at Oude Molen Eco Village. And Shirley wrote in to tell me how much they had enjoyed their day there, how they'd all been blown away by what they learned about what is happening on the site. And she said, I wish more people knew about them. Please, will you help spread the word? Well, Shirley, thank you for taking the time to write to us, and we are delighted to do just that today. Joining me via Zoom is Kelly Mansfield, who is a horticulturist who runs the community food garden at Oude Molen, and she's also the secretary of the Oude Molen Eco Village Tenants Association. Kelly, it's wonderful to have you with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pippa.
Sure. Kelly, before we talk about what's there today, let's talk about what was there in the past, because the site has got a really long and fascinating history, doesn't it?
Correct. Yes. I mean, this land has got a long history. You know, in the very beginning, there were the Khoi, were the hunter-gatherers here. It's gone. We had Kinsitsoeo that was held captive here in the 1600s. It then became a military barracks, and now, and then Valkenburg Hospital then became part of that as well. So yeah, it's been a long history here.
Hospitals, military barracks, kings in residence, because the conditions at the castle were deemed unsuitable to host a king, even if he was a prisoner. I mean, we could talk for days just about the ancient history and the fact that it was the site of a mill. Molenfleet was the name of the site once upon a time. But really, what is incredible is what has happened in the last 30 years and the creation of the eco-village that is there today. Kelly, I believe it all began in the mid-1990s. Tell us how the eco-village was started.
I think it was a group of people, and they approached the provincial government, and they saw this piece of land that wasn't being really utilised, and so they sort of came to a collaboration and said, "Look, we can actually start to fix up the buildings here, and let's see what we can do." And so that's how it started. There was a core group of about 4 people, and it's gone from strength to strength. Literally, we've got a thriving community here now.
Tell us more about that community. How big is it, and what is happening on site today?
There's probably, I think in total, there's probably about 40 or 50 families, not just residents, but families. And we've got thriving businesses, everything from organic delis to coffee shops to a nursing school to schools, preschools, Montessori. We've got a Waldorf. We've got horses. We've got organic gardens. We've got artisans, woodworks, metalworks, leatherworks. We've got Rubbing Trust. We've got people that hold jazz festivals. It just goes on. We've got a public swimming pool. There's so much things happening here.
And we're going to talk in detail about a couple of those. I have to ask, though, Kelly, when my kids were small, the Millstone Cafe at Oude Molen was one of the favourite places to hold birthday parties, because they could go properly free range, take their shoes off, run around and get muddy, and moms and dads could sit back and have wonderful cake and coffee while the kids enjoyed themselves. Is that venue still running?
It certainly is, definitely.
Great.
And we actually have another deli as well. So now we have the play shed as well.
Yeah.
So if you've got grandchildren, or, you know, there's grannies out there who are not sure what to do with their grandchildren, bring them here on a Saturday and a Sunday. We've got the play shed, we've got the millstone, and we've still got the back area deli as well. where you can bring your children.
Okay, so it really is, it's a wonderful family space where all are welcome and where there's so many things to look at and learn from. Kelly, are all of those businesses happy to have people walk into their studios, take a look at what they're doing? I understand the metalwork in particular is fascinating to watch. Is there if a visitor comes to Oude Molen for the day, can they just wander around and engage with everybody who's living and working there?
Sure. I mean, pretty much so. I mean, if you came on a Saturday and Sunday, most of the businesses are open. And I'm sure they'd be delighted, actually, to have people come and see what's going on. The Metalworks, they do some really good workshops there. We've got workshops that also happen in the gardens. You can learn permaculture, organic farming, bokashi pruning. There's just something, you can go on horse rides. There's so many things you can do here.
I'm glad you've mentioned the horses, and I'm going to share something with our audience in just a second about that. But firstly, just let me recap in case anybody has come into this conversation midway, that my guest on the line via Zoom is Kelly Mansfield, who runs the Community Food Garden at Oude Molen and is also the secretary of their Tenants Association there. And if you've been to visit yourself and would like to tell us what you enjoyed, or if you've got a question for them, you are very welcome to send through a WhatsApp to 072 567 1567. In fact, Ingrid has already done that. But before we share Ingrid's voice note, I want to share with you a message we've received from Georgie Ravenscroft, who is in charge of the horses at the Oude Molen Village, and has shared with us a voice note that explains a bit more about what makes their particular offering so special.
Hi, I'm Georgie. I'm representing Oude Molen Stables on behalf of the owner and manager, Mr. Kendre Ali's. So Kendre has been working with the horses at Oude Molen since his childhood, and it's here that he found healing and a sense of peace outside of his troubled circumstances at the time. When his mentor later moved to Stanford, Kendre purchased 6 horses with his hard-earned savings and an inheritance from his grandmother. Since then, he's been rescuing abused and neglected horses and bringing them back to the stables, healing and rehabilitating them until they're ready to be integrated into the riding school. He now cares for a herd of 40 horses, one of which is a foal born to a mare he rescued while she was pregnant. Kendre's horses are used in both formal and informal equine therapy, working with challenged children and adults from Falkenberg, Necro, Alexandra Hospital, Open Circle. The list just goes on. He provides riding lessons and pony rides, ponies for parties, cart rides, photo and TV shoots, children's holiday camps and clinics. He employs most of his staff from Garden Village, which allows them an escape from their high-risk environment and gives them an opportunity to not only learn valuable skills, but to meet and interact with people from all walks of life. Kendre's diverse clientele speak about how they experience joy, healing, peace and friendship with his horses, with many stating that the horses are the reason they have been able to overcome various challenges in their lives.
Thank you, Georgie, so much for explaining so well to us the beautiful element of the equine facility at Oude Molen. I mean, listening to that, Kelly, I heard the words healing, a sense of peace. That's very much, when I think of the Oude Molen Eco Village, that is the sort of the overarching sentiment that I associate with that place, that it is a place of peace, of quiet, of people finding themselves again. Am I right in saying that that is still the ethos? I mean, that's very much how it began and what it was intended to be. Do you think that the way it has developed in the past 30 years or so has held on to that ethos?
100%, no doubt about it. I mean, we work with the nearby hospitals. This land is needing healing, and we are healing it as we work here on the land with the people all around. Yeah.
So lovely. I've already had one or two people saying I didn't know it was possible to ride horses anywhere other than in the South Peninsula. So that's very good news indeed that you can go and check out the Oude Molen stables. I believe we've received a voice note from somebody who's enjoyed your gardens, and I want to take us listen to that before we talk about the future of Oude Molen. Let's listen to Ingrid's message.
As you're talking about Oude Molen, you will definitely be covering the back area gardens. Just to say, it is one of the most delightful little restaurant areas in my experience. Once it's in the garden, chickens scrubbing around, beautifully laid art gardens with what look like very not exotic, indigenous plants, and just absolutely fabulous experience.
Thank you, Ingrid. For those who couldn't quite make out the rather soft voice note, Ingrid saying how much the gardens at Oude Molen are beautiful and lovely to explore and so full of life, not only plant life, but chickens running around as well. Kelly, I mean, I know that's your baby. You are a horticulturist. You are the person in charge of the community food gardens. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the garden aspect?
Gosh, so we have so many programs that run through the garden. I mean, we have like school community projects that come through, like Rondebosch Boys, Pinelands High, Rustenburg Girls, so many different types of schools that are coming through. They do the community service with us. We've got an alternative to detention program where those scholars who are really struggling through school and they have to do detention, they can rather come and do their time in the garden, learn a skill and then have a conversation. We do all sorts of workshops. We also work with Falkenberg Hospital and the Open Circle. They bring their patients to the garden, and as part of the occupational therapy, they work there. So yeah, there's so many things going on there. It's amazing. It's a lovely space too. I would say that because I'm a bit biased.
Of course, but I'm going to echo it as somebody who lives in the neighbourhood. I mean, I live just over the river in Mowbray, Kelly, and so I know and appreciate the value of this place as a place of peace and as a green lung for the city. But for as long as I have lived in the neighbourhood, I've been aware of the fact that there have been those who would not like to keep it so and who have their eyes on this tract of land as being centrally located and therefore, in their view, ideal for housing development. Where are we at right now? I mean, it's been a sort of a story that's come and gone, and there's been a surge of there's going to be a development, and then it kind of went away and it comes back again. What's the current status of the future planning for that land?
We're not really, to be very honest, we're not really too sure ourselves. You know, we wanted transparency to work with the provincial government. We're not opposed to development on any level, but we'd like it to be kept within the same ethos as the village at the moment. So no, we're dialoguing with the provincial government, but we're not really sure what's going on. I do have Georgie here with me at the moment, and she's more on the ball with that sort of thing. That's her sort of area that she's really following up. So I don't know whether you want to speak to her.
That would be great. Georgie, thank you. I didn't realize you were sitting in as well. Welcome to the show. And thanks. We heard from you just now about the horses, but won't you just fill us in on this very important aspect as well?
No, absolutely. So basically what has happened is an environmental impact assessment has now been submitted to Western Cape Heritage. One of the concerns is that NEMA, which is the National Environmental Management Act, stated that there was no need for an environmental impact assessment for development at Oude Molen.
Gosh.
So the proposed mixed use, I mean, the plans that were put forward in a public participation meeting, the proposed mixed use basically decimates every single existing business here. It will only maintain the historical building where I think it was where the king was imprisoned. Yeah. But for the rest of them, all of it will be gone. So no stables, no gardens, no Waldorf, no Montessori, no Robin Trust with all of its training or looking after the dementia patients. So it's quite a harsh reality that we're being put up against. Western Cape Heritage will be hearing the matter of whether this goes the next step or not this coming week. I think there's an online meeting for all stakeholders.
Okay.
So we'll know then. And we have in the meanwhile called for the letter that NEMA submitted to the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning to find out what basis they said no environmental impact assessment was called for.
Okay, so it's quite fortuitous timing. We didn't know that when we set up this interview. It was purely a response to Shirley's visit. And Shirley, thank you for tipping us off at just the right time. So obviously a crucial point in the future of the site. I mean, Georgie, an online meeting. Have you guys, as tenants, as business holders, as those who are working and living on the site now, have you been invited to be active participants in this process? Do you feel like you are being included and communicated with quite well, or do you feel like you are having to continually bang on the door to be heard?
I think that the government and the parties who have been consulting to government have been very careful to tick the boxes and holding the public participation meetings. But there have been some very strong submissions, subsequent to all those parties receiving the Heritage Impact Assessment. There have been some strong rebuttal submissions, which, I mean, we've had incidents where everything was placed onto the government portal, but some very key submissions were actually missing on that portal, which was then brought to the attention of the people in question and was only sort of put on, I think, about a month later. So there are a whole lot of little quibble areas. Sort of, as I said, we are waiting for feedback from the development planning section to say why no environmental impact assessment is called for. We have had sightings of the western leopard toad here on the site. So not just on the adjacent wetland, but on the actual site where they are proposing to build. And in the Q&A section on the government portal for Oude Molen Precinct, they say, no, it will be addressed and considered. But, the Western Cape leopard toad was also part and parcel of Amazon and River Club environmental assessments, and they still went ahead. So I love that you spoke about the green lung. What concerns me is that green lung is getting narrower and narrower till we get to a stage where we can't breathe anymore. And we've already had a sighting of a small grey buck. We must identify it. But it was on this side within our Oude Molen property.
How lovely.
And we're considering that it might actually have come across the river with the Amazon development pushing it out, because that was a huge space of land which is now gone. So we're basically making the area smaller and smaller and smaller. And, you can't just say we're building here but not on the wetland. Of course it's going to impact the wetland.
And you're right there on the banks of the river. There may be some distance between where the building is pitched to be and the side of the river, but, floodlines differ, and the life on the banks of the river and beyond would be impacted by building in such close proximity, surely. So I hope that you are able to make the case for thorough environmental impact investigation being mandatory as part of this process. Georgie, thanks for explaining that to us. We must wrap up. Just a final question. If anybody listening to this uses that space, loves that space, wants to see it carefully protected and particularly from the environmental perspective maintained as a green lung, is there any kind of place for them to indicate that and to say that they stand behind maintaining and preserving the very unique special place that it is? Where do they raise their voice?
Well, because the public participation process has already happened, they can go and have a look at the link that we can share with you a little later today as to where all the documents are sitting on the government portal. Okay. But then Kelly can also share with you a petition that has been put together to actually protect the area that we're sitting on. And the Tenants Association are also, rather than an external in pressure, the Tenants Association are now sitting down saying we are establishing who we are and the shared vision, and then we will want to go to make with that. So all support, I think that Kelly will say probably the website, the petition, and then just to have a look at what's on the Oude Molen Precinct section on the government website. And Kelly will be happy to come back to you with answers.
Thank you so much. We have to leave it there, unfortunately, but our sincere thanks to Kelly Mansfield and to Georgie, Georgie Ravenscroft. Apologies, just lost your surname for a second there, of the Oude Molen Eco Village. Their website, oudemoleneco-village.co.za. If you'd like to find out more about the space, how to use the facilities, and how to add your voice to the call to protect this unique part of our city, please do visit their website. Our thanks to Kelly and Georgie for being with us today.